back to basics. You guys are not a bad team. You guys know how to play the game. You don't have to overcomplicate things. I think the worst thing they can do right now is to kind of lose their mind and draft a comp they're not comfortable on it. Because that is how you're going to crumble in game 3. I want to see Fnatic draft towards their strengths and go back to what works.
We are going to be doing the draft here at the Disc Nightmare joining us.
I got hit by a bubble. I woke up.
Yeah, hit by a bubble. Thank you for joining us again. What do we want to see here? I want to have your point of view. Fnatic being on the blue side one again, maybe for the last time.
I think before the series, I think we wanted to see stable top lane and something that could snowball bot. I think consensus now between us is mid jungle has to be better for Fnatic. I think they've been losing this series so far through that. They need something strong. They need something that can play strongly through that jungle and that mid lane.
Eyes for me are on the Yone right now. If it goes on through here, now you could first pick the Yone and then look for the Sejuani on 2-3 for Humanoid. I feel like you kind of have to do it because otherwise you just give Yike and Vladi the Yone and Sejuani. And I think this is exactly what you need as Fnatic. This is the one way you can get back into the series by getting a Yone Sejuani, probably one of the strongest two mid jungles we have in the game.
And it's a great pickup as well because it pretty much secures you a 2-3 for Razork to be more on this utility side of things. There's the Maokai, there's the Sejuani, and I feel like he is this catalyst for the team, and he on these picks has the biggest impact when I think of him.
Yeah, and I don't even mind if they steal the Sejuani away, because you can still fall back to something like a Lilia too. You have options now, and it does give you that engaged potential through from that mid lane, which very few champions do in that role.
Looks like it might be they're playing with the Trundle ban, because actually it won't be, because when I saw the Trundle ban, I assumed they would actually pick a tank early to kind of take that out as a counter, but it will be the Misfortune, which is one of the strongest laning AD carries we still have in the game. Together with Neeko is one of the champions I'm looking at to kind of help that bot lane really get facilitated and have a strong laning phase.
It's a great pickup, especially because they have the option of either the Leona or the Neeko. They have the scaling in the bag with Azir. You pretty much don't really need to be concerned so much about it anymore. The only thing you need to keep an eye out is for the combos that you have enough engaged for the MF and Azir to function well.
A little bit worried that Fnatic haven't picked up a jungler though, if we're talking about mid-jungle being very important. Yes, the 2v2, it's very strong there, but the payoff you've had for locking in the strong pick of the Yone and then the bot lane is, okay, what happens if Razork doesn't get some choice picks now? Maokai could have been one of those champions locked alongside that Yone. What happens if you do have the Sejuani banned and maybe the Lilia afterwards?
As for me, the two champions that I would assume to get banned is the Sejuani, as you say, and maybe the Ivern as well, because I think it's something that Razork has shown a lot of drive towards playing. But when you take out the Sejuani and you take out the Ivern, suddenly all those supportive junglers that kind of want to help facilitate your lanes are out. Because they have the Maokai, and maybe you have to go into something like a Poppy, but Poppy does not make sense into Misfortune Azir.
And then, of course, both you being top laners here as well. I'm pretty sure you're looking at this draft for the R5 for KC thinking, well, what happens if Canna gets the counter pick on that R5 as well? We talked about the mid-jungle, but that is still that looming knife in the dark. It hasn't necessarily been top lane winning the game so far, but that could be really deadly here.
Fnatic has already made their homework, because in the first two you already see the Ambessa and the Gwen ban. Right now you have the option to ban 2 more top laners, but they did opt for the Leona because, again, they do need to take out the engaged support. I'm looking at champions like Renekton, like Ornn, pretty much the tanky boys, because already from game 1 and 2, I guess, Chase and Rumble are out. A lot of the lane bullies in the top lane that Canna does very well on have been out, but he still has the Gnar, he still has Renekton, he has the Aatrox, correct, but I'm looking at Fnatic and I do feel like Oscar will need to walk into one of these bad matchups, but I do wonder how they're going to use this last ban, because he will need to take an Ornn.
Yeah, what I expect here is that we're gonna see a pick from Casey, but the response from Fnatic should be something like an Ivern Cassante or Ivern Ornn. For me, this is kind of what you need to fill out your draft. Here, as the KC, you can either choose to take your top laner or the support. Countering the support is usually the more convenient option.
I would say that, but also, I mean, I think Targamas, you know, you already see the bot lane there too. I think you pick in your support. I was wondering whether it'd be something like the Alistair, just say have a front line there. We could go for lane pressure. That's exactly what they do. Karma locked in. It's not necessarily a common pairing with the MF. This is for laning phase alone, really.
I don't hate it. I would hate it if the Maokai ends up going full AP, because I feel like now, well, it depends also on the 5 pick. If you get the Aatrox or pretty much any sort of...
Wait, no way if Fnatic gonna do the job and it's the MF. Is this the reverse of Winter?
So yeah. That might happen, because well, put the Ornn in the bag, I guess.
Yeah, I think most people could see this coming a mile away. And now I feel like you do need some kind of supportive jungle to round out his draft, because you have that Yone that wants to fight, you have the bot lane that wants to fight, and then Naafiri, I can see it with the Ornn top, kinda has that skirmish heavy potential, but then again, you don't really have that front line, that tank to walk in if your Ornn is stuck catching a side wave.
Well, that's probably why he won't be catching sideways, and I feel like he will have to overgroup and fall behind slowly. I do feel like the Naafiri makes a little bit more sense than the Ivern, because If we would have picked Ivan here, we would be looking at, you know, four AP elements on the side of Fnatic, and then I think you'd just be getting outskilled by the shopkeeper. So right now, with this Ornn and the Naafiri, I feel like you have at least skirmish power.
Casey, I think, overall, with the Renekton locked in, very good early lanes, very good ability to snowball. I do get a little bit worried if they throw a couple of kills to the Naafiri, that can really throw some problems into the plan. Fnatic do have some very good long-range engage options now. Yeah,
for me, this Renekton is mostly against the top set of Fnatic. When you see 3 melee champions, that Renekton becomes really strong. You get a lot of value from your empowered Coldemik in those fights, and it becomes really hard for Fnatic to contest topside if that Renekton is there with those early component items.
One player we want to keep our eyes on from each team. Would that be?
I think it has to be Canna for me from KC. That Renekton needs to get value early. If it doesn't, you are left with a single engage comp for the Maokai. The Renekton needs to get early value.
I'm looking at Razork and Vladi.
Razork and Vladi. Well, Razork on this side is going to have a lot of heavy lifting to do. If Fnatic wants to stay in the race, if they want to stay alive here in this series, 2-0 on the side of KC so far. Can we make it a competitive series? Casters, tell us what you think and take it away.
I mean, it's not on us. We're not making it a competitive series, but Fnatic certainly are
make it competitive.
They're going to try to make it. You're going to run out there, start unplugging mice and keyboards.
Just start playing better.
You played with me enough to know that's not going to happen. Here we are, match point KC. Pretty dominant in games 1 and 2. Fnatic will have to hope that there was more to the practice, more that they had cooked up and prepared here. As we get into what could be our final game of the series.
It's been an incredibly locked in KC, but I do think Fnatic has a lot more going for them with this draft. They have a lot more individual skill expression in the Yone and the Neeko. I feel like all members of the team this time has real opportunities to shine individually, which I think is really Fnatic's strengths are their individuals and how good they can be.
Targamas doing all right. Respecting fake upset. Mikyx in his disguise, not going to get rooted or caught out here. Battle for level 1 lane control. Upset Mikyx. A lot of range to do some damage here. Try to take that control early on, but you heard it from the desk, right? Vladi, can he weather the storm? If Humanoid can stop Humanoid from being relevant, and Razork. This pick felt a little bit odd. I think we were looking for a little bit more magic damage. You do get bits and pieces of magic damage all across the draft, but see what this Naafiri does, because Yike has been outperforming in the first 2 games. And Maokai is a champion that, while not very flashy, kind of always gets the job done.
I kind of like that they went for a different approach in this draft of just picking what is best for themselves rather than trying to conform too much. It was only really Oscar that I feel like sacrificed himself to create a better draft that works in the whole picture, while the rest of the members could be quite selfish and just pick what they wanted.
Yeah, I will say the thing I am a little unsure on is the Naafiri, just because I tend to like her when she has, hey, I can play off of my lanes, get for evades, or play off of pushing lanes, look for skirmishes and try and snowball that way. But I just don't really feel like Humanoid's going to have a ton of control over mid-wave, and Oscarinin won't have control over top, so you're already kind of limiting the avenues of attack that Razork can use this Naafiri into, but we'll have to see if they can find successful skirmishes for him to kind of start snowballing.
Yo popped early, barrier pops as well.
It's a very volatile bot matchup here. Both sides really wanting to poke the other out. It's going to be push for the Ezreal. He stacks up that passive.
Yeah, keeping it at 5 stacks, wants to go forward. Mikyx
goes for the
flash
there,
there,
but
with the flash.
Yeah, feels quite bad. Doesn't really get anything out of it other than some decent poke. Now Yike could be looking to finish his full clear down to this bottom side, punish out this flashless Neeko.
I mean, the damage follow-up from Caliste and Targamas is massive. Yike can get in range. Has the phase rush as well.
Really tough laning phase from Humanoid so far. He missed so many minions first wave. And
3 minions on the first wave already.
Didn't want to critique, but it wasn't quite Shovey that we were watching here.
Well, it's a little bit awkward when you get the Q3 and you go for the Azir and you whiff. He kind of just sits there and watches as your minion wave disappears while you try to force a trade. It's tough.
Yeah.
Q3 hits on that level 1, it's a very different game state, but for now, losing out on the push.
I mean, this matchup does really shift once Yone gets full build. Blade of the Ruined King.
Oh, I thought you meant boots too.
So that's one of the item spikes that we're looking for in this matchup, but bot lane is, I think Upset is recalling here. No, he ends up cancelling it. As KC are actually able to regain control. Upset fully out of mana, half HP here. Bit of a disaster early game so far, as Meta and bot lane are really bleeding for Fnatic.
And it's really not what you want coming into this 3rd game. Your playoff lives are on the line, and Fnatic unfortunately just haven't really been able to step up across the course of this series thus far. And I think a lot of it has been, like, as the desk was saying, not really a lot happening between the mid and jungle, and it's kind of been on Upset and Mikyx to hope you can have a strong early game to carry, but it just hasn't been enough against KC as they seem to be firing on all cylinders again.
And especially when you pick these champions that are, you know, you're kind of picking for yourself, for your own individual strength. If you then end up falling behind in the game, you don't have it easy to rely on team comp to fall back on.
And it's rough because Oscar is the only person on paper who's supposed to be suffering as badly as he is. Nice sidestep there in top lane on the Bellow's Breath. He's just not getting anything back. His friend keeps the pressure up. But because of that mid trade, because bot lane blowing the flash, not connecting on the route, all of Fnatic is a bit in, you know, rough shape here. They're getting some resets. They're reassigning lanes. Flashback to game one, hopefully just once or twice this time around.
But KC were already reading it. Caliste opened mid so that then he could kind of just wait and see exactly where Fnatic were going to show on the map, and then start to move in. So once Oscarinin TP's the bottom side, he just moves up to the top side and is able to match immediately. So there's no real escape for Fnatic thus far.
That's a great point, Rob. I mean, it's a really good opening by Caliste, being ready for this potential swap. I mean, he's played 2 games now against Upset, and he has experienced a lot of these swaps, so he kind of knows what's happening when they end up going for that recall.
Yeah, good read on the situation. Also very early boots pick up for the M map. Oftentimes we see her step away from it, but that combined with the struts means that Caliste is that much faster back out onto the map, can open mid and still make it top in time. Humanoid now level 5. He's doing a little bit better in the trades while He's starting to run. Yike finds the lockup. Razork trying to get involved. A lot of damage on the Targamas. Now it's Yike in trouble. So much damage from Razork. He's desperate to finish this kill. Targamas running as well. Upset trying to finish. It looks like he might get one more barrier. The shield coming in, trying to divide. Caliste wants to get one back, but they're still living. They're still hanging on. Whip on the route. Caliste walking forward. Another auto coming in. A love tap. Finishes it off. Caliste, though, has to be careful for the dive. Upset is low, but Razork's on the way, and he can reset the tower aggro. The Darkened Dagger's about to come out, leaping in. The dogs have found their target. Upset still standing. 3 kills in a matter of seconds.
And that's exactly what Fnatic needed to start off this game number 3. Naafiri getting 2 kills in the early stages. Fnatic getting their bot lane ahead. Huge success on the map for them.
And it's great to see Fnatic finally getting a victory in one of these skirmishes here, as it starts off with Razork having a level lead onto Yike, so he ends up being way stronger than him and just demolishes his HP bar here. I was surprised myself personally at how fast this Maokai ends up going down, as Upset can continue to chase down Targamas, stacks up the passive, procs the PTA, and then a great move here from Caliste to take down Mikyx. But he's left 2v1, the wave is about to crash, and they can easily dive him despite his fancy feet being able to dodge all the Ezreal Qs.
Yeah, the ability to reset tower aggro means that he can't really comfortably walk back under tower. Hopes that maybe Upset makes a mistake, eats a bit more damage than he should, but it just does not pan out. Now Fnatic sitting a bit more comfortable here. Not a massive gold lead, but definitely a nice position to be in. And a lot of the Fnatic wins, most of the Fnatic wins, I want to say, usually start with Razork getting something around this bottom lane, extending that gold lead to other parts of the map, and we'll just need to see what he can do individually, because that is one very powerful Naafiri about to tick over to level 6.
And I think that's what Fnatic really needed, some hope, some life breathed back into this game. After 2 really rough games, you know that their mental was probably feeling down, and if this game started going south, it could be over for them. But now Humanoid getting some good trades on mid, kind of turning this matchup around, and overall the game looks a lot more bright for Fnatic.
Definitely does, as Yike finds himself once again in the hands of a clone. Mikyx constantly changing form.
KC still have a push and control over this bottom side, though, even with the early kill going over towards Upset. So I'm going to start moving over towards Dragon and just trying to put some pressure down. But even if they really want to, could look for
Vladi's in base though,
yeah,
with no TP. I feel like Fnatic should be able to punish this here if Razork runs over.
Look at the pings, the question mark pings onto Wolves. They don't have vision, but they know exactly where Razork is.
Razork is in his home here. Wolves on the Wolves.
So, I mean, excellently read by KC to find that opportunity despite not having mid-prio.
Yeah, it's also nice because it should take Yike over to level 6 as well, which he kind of desperately needs, because you see level 7 already for Razork. He's been farming up an absolute storm, plus those early 2 kills. Eclipse now complete for him, so if you end up running into Razork as Yike, I don't think it's going to be a very fun time for you at all.
I do think I have to throw some criticism at Fnatic here, as they had the mid-prio, they had a buy advantage on bot lane, and a stronger jungler, and they still give over first straight to KC. This feels like a robbery from Yike here to be able to get that while still being so far down on this Naafiri.
I think the greater fear of Fnatic for most fans right now is is the status of the series, is being down 0-2, but this is something that we have to look at if we do make it to a Game 4, because it feels like all 3 games now, they've conceded just about every early objective as Razork is stalking, lurking in the jungle.
Yes, Eclipse completed. It's a very strong Naafiri here.
Yike. Little Alien Sapperling first will spot him out, but likely not going to be able to do much against this objective. So it does concede the blue at the very least, and Razork holding on to an almost 1,000 gold lead individually. Root not going to hit. Caliste ready to ult over the wall if necessary, but as long as Naafiri can go untargetable, it just doesn't feel like you have the angle.
Yike will be able to protect his own jungle here, but I think the fact that Fnatic has Razork to be able to fall back into his bottom side means they could keep the pressure up on the bot lane and look for potential dives, but it does mean you'll more than likely give up the Void Grubs on that top half if you continue with this bot side pressure, and it looks like that will be the call as you can see Razork falling back in over towards Script.
The one thing that does occur, though, because there is so much attention down on the bottom side of the map, is that Canna just continues to get to assert dominance in this 1v1. Keeping pressure under the wave, keeping Oscarinin locked under tower. Now we know Ornn is an inevitability, right? At a certain point, he's going to be able to contribute to team fights. There's nothing you can do about that, but you always have to keep your eye a little bit on Canna, stacking that gold, getting that gold advantage. Yeah,
especially when you run Demolish in this matchup, you're just able to continuously ignore the Ornn's damage, take the tower in front of him, and that's where a huge amount of that gold lead is coming from. Obviously, the CS advantage as well, but it's just been Canna able to continuously whack away at this turret. Now Fnatic, though, going for the reset. Looks like they are going to try and look for something around the Void Grubs, but Canna moving up here as well. KC want to contest.
Yike. Razork walking in, face first, really just not afraid, but with Canna on the way, he may need to be a little bit cautious. Second Dark and Dagger's charge, going to burn down at least one grub.
I really want to see Fnatic fight this. They have either advantage on Naafiri and the level
They really
lead.
just don't want to fight. I guess they're afraid of the Maokai, the potential combo. They just want to give Upset that time alone in top lane. Caliste taking a decent chunk of damage. Meanwhile, Oscar also getting some plates, so willing to concede the 2-grub buff. How much is it going to cost them? Heal out of the ulti. Razork backstepping. Canna ready to get involved. Yike's ulti as well. Flash forward from Mikyx. Going to catch 3. Decent damage. Fall back drilled across the top, but it can't quite finish the kill. Now it's Oscar getting involved, and Razork looking for a couple of resets. Vladi trying to find the angle on the ult, and he gets him. Sends the dog packing. Vladi finds that it's on Humanoid now. Q3 going to connect on the 1. Looking for a little bit more damage, but it's a 3v1. There's nothing he can do. Triple kill for Caliste.
And KC punish Fnatic completely as they get the grubs, they ace them, and they take the full fight. Fnatic are caught disjointed again. They want to hit top tower, they want to hit bot tower, they want to do everything at once. While KC, they go for one play at the same time. They send them all towards top. And even with Oscar TPing in, it's too little, too late. Upset already taken down to 100 HP. Mikyx already dead by the time Humanoid and Oscar are there. And then Vladi, with a beautiful shuffle, cleans up the fight.
Yeah, it's just a disaster for Fnatic. Even Mikyx flashing forward to try and get onto Caliste and Targamas, but there's just no follow-up, and it feels like that so many times we've said this about Fnatic's team fights is good ultimate from Mikyx or good setup from Fnatic, but the damage dealers were not in a position to really make anything happen.
And I think it's frustrating to watch this Fnatic lineup that has been so good, right? Yes, they've been plagued by a bit of inconsistency here. Yes, it starts to feel like they are cursed against G2, but in every other situation, it feels like this is the team that you can rely on to perform at their best in the majority of situations. Who are seeing so many of those iconic Fnatic mistakes, the things that have held them back, manifest in a single series, and you just have to hope that the players can hold on, that the mental can stay strong, because they're not out of this yet. It's one bad fight. Razork is still a powerhouse. There's still ways back into this.
It feels like it's just these micro mistakes of indecision, hesitance that are costing them, doubt that is creeping into their gameplay. And now Upset can't even touch the mid wave here, as Caliste has the BT finish, and that's when this matchup really swings in favor of DMF, as she can just tank up all that poke and lifesteal back up. And this looks like a second Drake going to the side of KC.
It's just the amount of control that you're offering with Yike on the Maokai as well when you're in a position like this. Caliste has mid push. Cool, we can just play for these choke points. And look at the confidence Targamas is playing with, right? He's just in Razork's face saying, if you try anything, I've got a Maokai in behind me, I've got a mid lane, or my AD character come across here.
Nice from Humanoid. Clean follow-up. Excellent buffer on the Q3, and it's going to earn him a kill. Now instantly the follow going in from Razork, but as he got a little bit over eager, Targamas health bar blinking. Clipped on the way in. It should just be Razork dead. Dashes out, but gets taken down. A good pick comes in from Humanoid, but Razork getting a little bit over-eager in the moment as the ulti comes out to try to stop the base.
It tries to find Humanoid there, but doesn't quite catch him. But it's a great individual play from Humanoid, followed up by a little bit of overzealousness from Razork, which feels like a big shame. Because if you're able to just get that pick, get that Drake, you're finally on the board objective-wise. But again, it's another objective going for the side of KC.
And especially when your only counterplay is, hey, we've got some gold on towards our Ornn who's pushing in topside. It's not really the win that you're hoping for, but maybe getting caught.
I thought it was a clone, but that is the real Neeko. Walking face first into Renekton.
Great pick by Mikyx.
That'll do nicely, especially given that kill over to Humanoid. And he's reached full build, as you were saying, so he's going to be very happy. But just a great play from Humanoid here, stacking up the Q3, immediately able to get through and manages it to, with the Emperor's Divide, to get the timing over the wall and finishes off. But Razork here, just going way too deep to try and pick off Targamas, and it was unnecessary. You'd already kind of got the win on the bottom side. Just try and disengage from that point, but ends up being KC getting one back.
Good that KC are able to get that return kill, but Humanoid will be a tough problem to manage. Again, the good news is with almost a 1k gold lead for Canna, Yike, there's so much point and click CC that it'll be pretty tough for Humanoid to run completely amok in a fight.
Never falter.
I do think playing on that side lane, leveraging the split push threat, is a great win con for Fnatic now. I think it's hard to try to punish Caliste on mid waves. It's just 1,000 gold ahead of Upset. So leave this Ezreal alone. Let him just clear waves with Q. Let him do his thing. And then play hard for Humanoid. Which I feel like it's what I wanted from them last game that they weren't able to do. I would love to see it this game.
Need to leverage the power of some of these individual picks. You talked about it. Oscar taking the short straw so everyone else could play what was comfortable, what felt good. But the team play hasn't felt good, hasn't felt coordinated. But perhaps the side lane offers a way in, and certainly getting this Herald uncontested is an excellent start on this mid game where they are at a bit of a goal deficit.
Using the fact that Humanoid had the TP advantage over kind of the bot side to set that one up, but now you can kind of see Humanoid unsure as to where KC are on the map, so he has to back away from that bot lane turn, and KC look like they're going to set their eyes on that. And it looks like Fnatic could be able to trade that for the top turret as well, but we'll see.
Humanoid needs to be very careful
Wants
here,
to clear the way.
Maybe
Canna
he can
still
kill
stepping
Canna before they
forward.
come.
Ulti and TP out as well. Snaps back, does not have Q3 ready to go. Yike's ult on the way in, perfectly ranged out to find that pick. Humanoid going to go down. Gold over to Vladi. Oscar's going to get a little bit of money back. A wave, but even if he finishes the tower, it's still a great deal for KC.
And you were talking about kind of the classic Fnatic mistakes going back to bite them. There's one as well, just overextending the side lane for Humanoid. Now they will get mid turret, at least off the back of the Herald, and also get that top tower, but Humanoid just didn't need to die in the encounter.
Yeah, it's a good, still a good trade up for Fnatic as long as they can defend this tier 2. And I think with the TP of Oscar they can. But you have to feel that if Humanoid just backed off and they were able to just catch these waves, now push out both sides, the game looks so much cleaner, so much easier to play. But it's just constantly something goes wrong for them.
Well, and Humanoid giveth and Humanoid taketh away. It's the TP advantage that allowed them to get the Herald that ultimately made that play still okay in the end. But again, it could have been better. A little bit safer, a little bit more cautious, and would have been able to walk away. Fnatic could be in a much more even position. The gold lead has shrank, all things considered, but it still feels like it's KC who are destined to get first setup. They're just stronger on that mid push for the most part, and I mean, Hextech, you talked about how good Cloud is. Hextech also feels pretty great.
Hextech is not underrated. Hextech is just, everybody knows how good Hextech is.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And again, this is a comp that is, I think, much easier to execute. Cut and dry. This is the most standard, other than the Karma. You could have seen this any week, any day, in any region, this kind of composition.
It's pretty crazy that this is Game 3 Fearless that they got all these.
That's actually true. Game 3 Maokai and Azir, okay. Razork untargetable for a moment. Vladi now on the chase. Forced to flash, dash, try to make it out. Yike finds a little bit of lockup onto Upset. Qs are connecting. Red buff making this painful. And again, Yike pretty squishy. Phase rush, but no aftershock as Humanoid just continues to pressure on side.
This is chasing. That's the TP out. But he got the bot tower. They did have to burn Razork's flash, which will be down now for this key Drake fight. Overall, Humanoid is continuously building his individual lead.
You do have to be careful here as Fnatic though. No TP in Oscarinin, no TP in Humanoid, and Canna can move down to this Dragon fight if they want to. So I think Oscarinin needs to get some sort of reset on this top half just to make sure he's actually going to be in a position to fight if Fnatic want to go for it.
Yeah, this TP advantage makes this Drake contest a lot tougher, as Ornn also can't get pushed, so he kind of needs to just drop away, be willing to drop that top tower.
Hexgate over.
This is very aggressive from Vladi here.
Vladi trying to scoop. Gets a quick flash out of Mikyx.
Oh, and Vladi is just getting flash after flash. First able to get Razork, and now Mikyx as well. Putting so much pressure in Fnatic lineup.
And look at Oscarinin, he has to reset now to try and walk out. Canna just sticks around, gets the tower now. He's going to reset and be able to TP into this engagement as KC need him.
Fnatic lead the lamp poke here. So crucial. The Drake is already taken down fast.
KC body blocking the attempts to get in. That's the Maokai ultimate zoning the entirety of Fnatic away. Mikyx using the clone. Steal won't come through. Fnatic now looking for a few exit kills. Horn been blown. Ornn not going to find a single target, but Vladi is going to get chunked out by the Ezreal ultimate. Canna now ready to get them into the entire fight, but it's Targamas who's been caught. Targamas who's been isolated. Canna re-engaging, but won't get anyone. Now needs to retreat as the rest of his team is on the run. But a beautiful ult over the wall from Caliste gets a bit of chip damage back. Blinking health bars across the board, but nobody is dead yet. 5 still standing on either side. Team fight played on the absolute edge, but it's KC who get the objective.
And this is the punishment of not having flash on your support jungle here, as Mikyx can't go in, he can't find the engage that you need. Razork, he can't continue chasing. They just don't have the firepower that they need to really start a fight and get it going.
And it's important to highlight, you talked about it, Vladi is the one burning those flashes, because it could have been a Wampa Stomp for Fnatic. They could have been finding kills left and right, resets left and right, but the lack of flashes are what made that fight close. But in the end, it's the Drake to the side of KC, and they're sitting pretty.
I was just super lucky for Canna, the fact that he got this gold lead, gives him the Sterix, and that Sterix was the only thing that kept them alive at the end of that fight. So very, very close, but here we go.
Humanoid going in. Pushback is there. Flash forward. A little bit of extra shielding. Waiting out the duration. Nicely played by Vladi. Targamas there with the shield. I don't even think he needed it. Zanya's to wait out the lifeline shield. Clever moment there. Humanoid cannot find the 1v1.
And that's going to be Atakan going to the side of KC. Actually, Fnatic look like they want to try to contest here, 4v5, but Vladi is TPing in with the Sonias. I think this might be tough for Fnatic.
Will the confidence be rewarded? Or is this the final fight? Mikyx wandering forward. Maokai ultimate, Oscarinin looking to disengage. Razork low, Otacon down, Vladi on the chase. KC descend upon Fnatic, punishes them for even coming to watch the Otacon fall. Caliste unstoppable, Canna unconcerned, KC get everything.
Canna played the start of that incredibly well. He just sat in the bush, dodged 2 or 3 different skill shots, which meant that Fnatic thought they were safe to walk up. And Upset, we'll see it actually at the start of this. So Upset, as he comes in, ends up just getting stunned, but this is the initial play from Vladi. Gets the knockback, goes to Golden as he tries to predict the Humanoid with the Q3, but it's a great flash away from us. Targamas there with the shield, and then the resets come through for the rest of the fight.
Yeah, and here, like, Fnatic, it just screams of desperation and emotion. They really want to try to get something, but there's nothing to get. As Canna, as you said, holds this bush beautifully, dodges the Ezreal W, dodges the Ezreal Q, and then Upset actually misclicks on the ward, walks into the bush, gets stunned, has to blow the cleanse, and the fight's just unplayable with the Maokai ult coming in. KC have the numbers advantage, they're already stronger, the poke didn't land, Humanoid, their strongest member, is not there. And KC are getting absolutely everything with 2 minutes to solve.
And we go back to the previous fight. The difference of flash is all that mattered, but now, even if they had flashes, KC just in so good of a position. The gold lead continuing to grow. The Azir only going to get more powerful, even if the 1v1 will always be hard against the Yone. Vladi consistently able to find these edges, and it just feels like across the board, KC as a team and as individuals are just outperforming on the day.
Mikyx has no flash from Vladi.
Sidestep from Vladi's good, pops the Celestial opposition. Another wave coming in, and they're going to walk away. They have 3 people, but they don't want to risk it.
That's aura. That's aura right there.
The fact that they don't go for that play, I'm really surprised. I thought they might be able to look for it despite the Neeko E missing. But they just, I think they feel like they're under so much pressure.
But it's also, as you were saying earlier, Jack, it's kind of these little moments of hesitation for Fnatic that have really come back to bite them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately there, like, they were unsure where Maokai was. Were they going to be able to turn that play around and bot? They don't commit. And now it just gives KC that space that they need to. Now a minute until Dragon. And you've got Canna pushing top, no one to answer for him. Caliste is going to be fine to open up on midwave safely. And Fnatic are desperately trying to get any sort of vision into River.
Flash there for Mikyx. Maybe that can make the difference. Maybe they can find the engage, but Humanoid doesn't have flash. Oscar doesn't have it either. You can visualize the perfect wombo combo, but against this MF, Azir, Maokai, that trio, so hard to find the perfect fight, especially as Vladi playing with total confidence here. Doesn't have vision in the bush. There could be 5 members of Fnatic, or 4 as he does see Humanoid, just is not concerned.
And if I'm Nkoi, I'm very scared of this KC because you took them down once, but this KC looks like they're playing a lot more confident on the map and look a lot more dangerous as a result.
Yeah, it's a whole different beast. The way they're holding these corridors, denying Fnatic any chance of entry. They're just choking them out. Fnatic now tried to contest through the bot side here. It's looking so difficult for them.
Fnatic pushing in, trying to gain as much space as they can. KC just retreating. They don't want to give them a good fight. Make them pull the Drake. Respect the potential for the engage.
I like the Fnatic are trying to fight for control over it though, because if they can pull this dragon down, it opens up a flank angle for Humanoid, but Canna going to match him now.
Ulti to dry space, unstoppable now, but Oscar won't be able to hit the Ornn ulti back. Taking a decent chunk out, Razork trying to get in, Mikyx flashing forward, he's going to find multiple members, but again, there's just no follow-up. Humanoid is there after the ulti's already gone. It's a disaster. Fnatic continue to pull the trigger, but they just can't count to 3. They cannot do it at the same time. The opportunities slipping away left and right.
KC gets Soul, they get 3. They're going to be able to take down the Nashor. And it looks like KC are heading straight for that 3-0 in a dominant fashion.
And it's just heartbreaking for Fnatic fans, thinking that maybe this was the Fnatic that could do it, that could start to threaten the G2s, even the KC last split, to try and lift that trophy, but it just hasn't come together for this playoffs, and now seeing a potential 3-0 that is going to sting for a team that has put so many resources in, but maybe Vladi?
They're going to Vladi on side, buys him a bit more space. Vladi running, ulti going in, massive shield from Targamas. Vladi going golden, dodging so many abilities. Canna keeping the push on the side lane, but Vladi will finally go down. Oscar looking to follow, won't find anyone in the knockup. Canna still hitting that bot lane tier 2. Baron will not fall. Crucially, Targamas caught in the pit. Has flash, making them work for it. Caliste ready to respond. The lockup is there. They will be able to find the kill as well. Fnatic now need to turn. This has to be their Baron. This has to be their moment, but it's Yike waiting over the wall. Yike who can steal it. A 50-50. All of Fnatic's hopes and dreams on a flip.
They know he's there though. He threw that sapling over the wall, so they're more than aware.
But it's a Smite King, baby. He always gets these. He has the Maokai Q flash Smite here.
Razork, a chance at redemption, goes untargetable. The ulti's still there, gets it in the pit, takes it away! Every last bit of hope denied. Humanoid will at least get 1 kill on the exit. But Fnatic gift wrap the Baron, and Yike more than happy to receive.
That looked like the moment for Fnatic. But actually, well, Humanoid might get Yike off the back now, he will fall, but it looked like they had it. Maybe that was their window back into the game, the pick onto Vladi, the kill onto Targamas. But it all falls apart at the last second.
Fnatic's hopes are being snuffed out one by one.
And I would love to tell you that this series was a story of both teams playing their absolute best, neck and neck, but it has just been so damn dominant for KC. Fnatic, this should have been the angle back. KC, credit to them, they're patient, they see those blinking health bars, they know they have the power of MF.
It's a great setup here from Caliste to set up Yike for success here. He makes it so difficult for Razork, as Razork has to actually leave the pit, gets flash stunned by Canna. He's in an impossible situation against this MF, and with the Hextech Soul as well, slowing them down. Now KC has Hextech Soul, Atakan, plus the Baron Nashor. This surely is all they need.
And again, if this had been a different series, we would talk about the comeback potential. 7K teams have done it before, but it has not happened in a single game. KC have gotten a lead and they have closed. They have not given Fnatic an inch back, and that continues to be the case. Yes, some missteps here. Humanoid finding some good picks, but 1 or 2 picks is just not enough to win a game like this.
It's a 7K lead against Soul, against Baron, against the KC that are firing on all cylinders, and it just feels so unattainable for Fnatic as the slow march from KC goes down the mid lane.
And I would say if Mikyx has flash, that could be an avenue they could explore, but it's still going to be down for a little bit longer. I do think, though, that if they're able to hold on to inhibs here, Said this last game as well, but oh, they're on to Canna, no flash.
Ulti in, kind of trying to get a bit more time. Upset following, backing away. Taking a long time to die. That's a lot of ultimates, but it looks like Canna will fall. No healing, so damn much!
God.
He's just unkillable! Vladi, the pushback knocks him into the team, but again, it does not matter. The Azir is just ready to die. Upset running for his life. And these are the final moments of Fnatic in Spring. KC complete dominance.
What's an MVP versus split champions? KC tear Fnatic asunder and march towards MCoy.
And KC wants their revenge, baby. They were not happy with how the last series played out, and they're coming for MCoy, and they're gonna take it back.
All eyes on KC. They will make it to the finals. A shot at revenge, a shot at MSI. Shot to play versus G2 in our championship match.